Online webinar where today we're going to be talking about a very important topic. We're going to be talking about augmented reality, 3D technology, and how these things can have an impact on high consideration product buying journeys. But you have to take my word for it today. We've got an expert of the game, Ed Sedgley, CEO of Viewer. How are you doing today, mate?
Good, Dan. How you doing, mate?
Mate, life is good. Life is good. For people who don't know you, let's hear an intro.
Okay, yeah. So Ed Sedgley, CEO of Viewer. Been CEO of Viewer for about 5 or 6 years now. There's a bit of background. So Viewer was one of Australia's first augmented reality companies back in 2012 when AR was still very, very new to the market. Since then, we've reached out a little bit more into overall product visualization. So AR is still an important part of what we do, but we've got a range of visualization offerings, which I'm looking forward to talking through today.
Mate, that's awesome. We're going to see a bunch of practical stuff too. From my side, I run partnerships here at Shopline. So based out of Sydney, 320 Pitt Street at the WeWork office right now with the podcast studio, getting some good usage. From my side, I'm a massive NRL fan, long-suffering Parramatta Eels fan. If anyone knows about that, they know how tough that's been. Got two dogs, Ariel and Amaya. So Finnish Lapphund and a Cocker Spaniel, and a big scuba diver. For you, Ed, a bit about you.
So big Hawks fan, so AFL, so different, but other end of the spectrum too. I've been pretty lucky over the past sort of 30 years with a fair bit of success. Saying that, we got a bit of work to do this season. And then outside of that, I love being outdoors. I love golf. I love my surfing. Three daughters, two of who love the dance. So somehow I've become a dance dad, which was unexpected. And I'd say I'm very good at attending, but terrible with hair and makeup. So I leave that to my wife to manage.
And you've strategically sort of left out your own dance skills. Do you have any moves for us today?
Maybe not today, but another time.
All right. We'll save that for round two. But look, for today, we've got a jam-packed agenda for everyone, you guys, right? So we've got a bunch of things to talk about here. Augmented reality. We're going to talk about phone-based shopping and the trends in that space. We're going to have a look at the high consideration products. What makes a product a high consideration product? It's not only cost, but also the trickiness of changing those purchases as well. We're going to take a look at the customer journeys and the buying journeys for customers who are looking at those high consideration products. We'll dig into the importance of visualization in the customer journey in terms of the research phase. We'll have a look at some concepts, so 3D scenes, variations, design, ideal product ideation. We'll then go into testing the product, so augmented reality, having a look at how a product's going to look in your own home and customizing those products in your own home as well. And then we'll tie it all together, right? ROI. So does this technology make money? Spoiler for you, it does, but we'll take you through that today. In terms of changing that consumer behavior, I'll throw it to you, Ed, here to talk about some of the trends in this space.
Yeah, and it is this change in consumer behaviour that's led a whole range of retailers to start to look at visualisation as an important part of the entire e-commerce process. And in some ways it's crept up on us, but in other ways it was accelerated by COVID. And obviously, online retail sales just continue to build year on year, and that continued to happen. But what happened during COVID, and it's happened more recently, is more and more shoppers are now using their smartphone to purchase items. And so this is now over 62% of people are actually on their phones when they purchase. And one component to that has been that phones have improved dramatically too, and they continue to. So you've now got bigger phones, you've got quicker internet, you've got better cameras. So all those factors mean that the phone now can be, some people will just use that as their, whereas most people will use that as a device that they're on most regularly. And then what we have is we've got 81% of shoppers doing research before they buy. I do it. Most people I know do it. You're interested in something, you're on your phone. The first thing you do is you just start flicking between websites. And if you're looking to, say, purchase a piece of furniture, I'll be on my phone researching different items. And then you still might go into the store or you buy it online, but you're doing that research first, and that files a whole range of products. So you've got people at home researching on their phones. And so the question becomes, well, how do you capture their attention? Because you've got a very limited amount of time to stop that research. Okay, yeah, I'm interested in this. And so what our clients find is that if their website is more interactive, so it lets someone view something in 3D, it lets them potentially configure a product, or it goes one step further and lets them say, okay, what's that going to look like in my home? click a button and virtually place the product at their home, it just takes them down the buying cycle more quickly. And that website will most likely become one of this very small number that they then decide to engage with, which is really what we're trying to achieve. And there's a few metrics there you can see as well. The Harvard Business Review did a report and found that if someone used augmented reality, they were 94% more likely to convert than one that didn't, which is really staggering stuff. The Harvard Business Review also looked at 3D product visualization, and if someone utilizes 3D and has dwell time on a website, it will lead to an average increase in the average order value of 69%, and customer. There are some strong stats that are indicating that now is a really important time to start looking at visualization for a website.
It makes logical sense too, right? So as a shopper from my side, I'm the kind of person who opens 15 tabs and looks at all options and does an unstructured comparison. So I would be ripe for phone-based AR to capture me, right? Because what's going to make me stick on one of those tabs compared to the others? If someone had that AR experience and I could try a product, I could try the variations of that product in my own home, that's probably something that would convert me if a brand was doing that well. And that probably leads us into the next section here, where we're going to talk about that practical component of this. So we can look at all of the really cool new technologies on the market. And as software guys, as marketers, we have an idea of what that customer journey is. But I think one of the best ways to validate these technologies is to go back to, hey, I'm also a shopper. So would I buy a couch online? I think a couch is one of the great representations of a high consideration product. They're very hard to move in. They're very hard to move off. You don't want to have to sell them secondhand, and they're quite expensive. So would I buy a couch online? For me, a couple of key questions come up. Firstly, is it going to look good in my living room? Is it going to fit with the space? Is it going to be a nice fit for the vibe that I've got set up, and more accurately, the Miso has set up in our living room? Is it going to fit? So is the L shape going to align with the corner that I think it's going to go into? Is it going to measurements wise fit in that space? Is it going to go with the 6-foot Parramatta flag that I have hanging up in that room? And unfortunately, again, the Miso's design didn't include it. A big flag for Parramatta, but in the old days, that was more of a consideration. What material should I choose? So I've ever got wooden floors. Maybe I'm looking at leather, for example. I might be going for a more homey effect and some sort of fabric design instead for a couch. Then in parallel, what would it look like in another color? So how would that couch look in my space in orange, for example, maybe a bolder sort of color there? And finally, would that match another variation? So when we look at these variations, they stack up and they multiply. So if we're looking at, say, you've got a couch that has 10 different color options, it has 5 different material options, and it has 5 configuration options, those multiply and become 250 possible variations that someone's going to want to test in their own home. Now, I haven't seen many websites, Ed, that have 250 product images that are easy to sort of navigate through in terms of pre-built images. So I think the AR piece is actually a necessity in this space.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also, there's sort of usually 2 types of people. So there's people that can look at a space and look at a product and visualize it and understand what it's going to look like in the end result. That's not me. There's the other, probably the majority of people who look at it, don't really have any idea what it's going to look like. But then once they present, they get it. And that is me. So if I see something, I know whether I like it, but it's hard for me to picture or visualize it. So I think that's where this software becomes really important, because you can run through, as you said, up to 250 options, looking at each one and determining which one you think looks really good. And what will often happen is something that I thought would think I would like, suddenly you go, well, actually, that does look really good. So that's another reason why 3D visualization can be important, because as you mentioned, some of our clients have thousands of different fabrics, and it's just not viable to get that couch and photograph it in all the variations. But using digital renders and high quality 3D, you can offer that to the customer.
Yeah, I think you broaden the pool of people you can convert as well. So we were talking a bit there about the online only. So on the x-axis, on the edge there, the high consideration products. So we got Sextant 6 there, which historically for high consideration product manufacturers is a tough area to convert. So someone just coming in online, looking at a high consideration product, purchasing without going into a store. So you alluded to it before, the offline only, so the showroom experience, that's tried and true. Everyone knows about that. The omni-channel experience has come over the last sort of 5 or 10 years, where people have the online site, but still usually they're closing the deal in the store. So what we're looking at now is someone maybe leaving the store physically and going online through that omni-channel experience. or alternatively, someone who is just landing online and converting online, which that's the toughest part to convert. And that plays into the traits of that high consideration selling journey, right? So, purchase of high consideration products, they're more likely investing a lot of time and a lot of resource into that research phase for that product. So, Google talks about it as the zero moment of truth, which is basically that phase where you are open to all options and you're exploring all options. That ZOMT for high consideration products is a much longer experience for customers. And the more we can do to inform them and let them self-serve that research phase, the more likely we are to convert them. Secondly, on the website side of things, so again, allowing someone to educate themselves on your product. If they're landing on a page, there's a couple of images and they look super overproduced and they're not raw, they're not real, someone's not going to really believe in those. Whereas if someone can educate themselves on different materials, the options, how it's sourced, but also how it's going to look in their space, that's a really valuable thing. Thirdly, here, looking at recreating the in-store experience online. So at Shopline, we push a lot of this too, in terms of pushing that conversational commerce piece, the social commerce piece as well, that social validation, and also having that high range of sort of images. But we need to also recreate that in-store experience where someone can actually test out a product. Now, you're never going to be able to sit on a couch online, right? So you can't test that. What you can't do in a physical store is test that couch in your space. So that's an advantage we have online. We just got to play to the strengths of the platforms that we're on. And then finally, high consideration, not necessarily expensive, but just difficult to change. That's really the key thing where there's going to be a high consideration journey. I'll keep rolling through here with some of this journey and this process. So I've got 6 key stages here that sort of constitute a high consideration shopping journey. And feel free to chime in as well as we go through this part, Ed, because I'm keen to hear your insights on how AR, how 3D sort of impacts these stages. First thing here is the initial exploration phase, as we were talking about that ZOMT, zero moment of truth, where someone is not sure what they want at all. They might be looking at, if we stick with the couch example, they might be looking at a bunch of different types of couches, L shapes, recliners, whatever it is there, and open to all of those options. So they're really just gathering that initial research and they're sort of waiting for something to capture their eyes in most cases.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where the 3D and the web journey becomes really important. Even if someone is ultimately intending to go into a store, they would typically do their research and have a really good idea of what they're looking for before they do go into store. And that's what a lot of our clients find, is that they're realizing that they can't just rely on, mum and dad to go walking down the street in Richmond looking for couches. They've got people that come in targeted, knowing pretty much what they want and just.
Yep, 100%. And then second stage here, trust building, establishing that credibility. This is one where the website overall probably plays a big role in terms of landing on a website. There are micro promises that are made when a consumer lands on a website. So when they click on your link, we make a micro promise to these customers that we're going to provide a fast and effective online experience. If someone clicks a link and it takes longer than expected to load that next page and you've got a slow website, what is actually happening there is that you're breaking a micro promise to that customer. So their trust level goes down and down and down. If there are dead links, again, you're breaking those micro promises as well. So having that credibility is going to come from having a fast, effective, modern, and easy to use website as well. So that's an important stage in this journey. Thirdly, the emotional connection. And I'll throw it to you a little bit here too, because I think the ambitions of the shopper really play into some of those 3D scene selects that we're going to talk about as well. So when someone's buying a lounge chair to sit by the pool, for example, they're not just buying that sort of lounge chair. They're buying that Sunday afternoon where it's really sunny and where they're lying by the pool and they've got a pina colada in hand and their backyard's looking well manicured and maybe the dog's being well behaved, right? So that part of the technology where you can paint that picture for a customer rather than relying on the imagination is super valuable in terms of conversions.
Yeah, totally agree. And we do see more and more clients that are looking at aspirational scenes and putting their products into those scenes to give people exactly what you're saying, to give them that overall experience of what they're going to get from the product rather than just the product itself. So we're seeing that reasonably common these days.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're buying an experience. They're buying a future state. They're not just buying a product, especially at that higher cost point. Fourthly, here, addressing pain points, solving problems. It's pretty straightforward, but all those concerns we raised about buying a couch or the problems that a couch might have in a certain space. Fifth, balancing trust, price, and value. And I think where what we're talking about today plays in is more in the upgrades and the customization area. So $500 to customize a couch, $1,000 to customize a couch might sound like a lot, but when you see that dream couch customized in your space, suddenly that $500 feels like it's quite a cheap price to have that perfect couch. So That's going to play in too. And then finally, building relationships and increasing that customer lifetime value. So what we play on at Shopline is because we've got the e-commerce and the point of sale all covered with the unified commerce offering. But those data points are really important in terms of post-sales or post-experience marketing. So if we know that someone is looking at a certain type of couch, for example, and they were looking at the pillows that go with that too, they didn't buy those pillows, we might look at marketing to them afterwards and saying, hey, there's a promotion on these pillows that go with the couch you just bought, or making those recommendations based on the data behind that customer's interaction with our brand. So I'll keep rolling through some key stats here. 37% of retailers, only 37%, have loyalty and membership programs that run across both online and offline. So even at a really basic level, most brands are running really disparate customer experiences when you look at the online versus the offline. So when we talk about reflecting the offline experience in the online store, the first step there is data connection and connecting those membership and loyalty programs and how we communicate with customers. In terms of that unified commerce approach, 6% of retailers would mark themselves as having unified commerce today. It's going to be 31% in 12-month time in terms of the expectations that retailers have. So right now, this unified commerce piece and that data connectivity is a real USP. My prediction is over the next couple of years, that's going to become a requirement to play, really. And everyone's going to have that. And if you don't have that, you're going to fall behind as well. Ed, I'll throw to you to run through some practical examples here, because I know you've got some really exciting stuff to show us right now.
Yes, sure. So I'll share my screen. Really, if we look at and now, Dan, you can see that screen, okay?
Yep, loud and clear.
Yeah, great. So our mantra of viewer is seeing is believing, and it's about letting someone visualize something. It's obviously to get them more engaged, but how do you do that? And there are a variety of different ways you can do that depending on what products that our clients are trying to sell. So I'll just run you through a few examples of a few different examples, which hopefully relevant to some audience. Okay, so this first one is looking at, which is quite common now, is 3D models and 3D configurators on a website. So allowing someone to use something in 3D and to then change it. So let me run through. So this is an example client called Weave Home. And so they obviously sell a range of quilts, sheets, pillowcases. And really what they want to achieve is they want someone online to be able to mix and match different options to visualize which ones they think will work best. So here, for example, I can change the color on the fitted sheet, then look at what I'm going to pair that with a flat sheet. I can update the quilt between different options. I think a really good understanding of what they look like together, which is taking that consumer more down the buying cycle. I can also, update pillows, and I can even get so far as to, add additional pillows as well. And that, will update some 3D models. So I added them in the background. So not a bad job by me. It looks all right, doesn't it?
You've done pretty well there. I'd buy that.
And so this is getting the customer to interact, getting to stop on your website. And then what it's doing in the background is it's, in real time calculating each different component, the price, and then you can, add that to cart and purchase. So that's one example. Configurators are becoming more and more different industry. Other examples include plunge pools. We've got a range of plunge pool companies where you can view the plunge pool in 3D, change out the interior, change out, exterior, add any kind of options, and then virtually place it in your home. Through to outdoor umbrellas. So choose your umbrella, choose your valance, choose your fabric, choose your. You can even go as far as upload logos. So really let someone build their own product, as well as decking and a range of other examples. And this works really well. The 3D configurator works really well with Web AR, which I'll show you in a minute, because what you can do is build the product on your laptop, for example, and then take your phone outside and place that product that you've built in your garden or wherever you want to go. So I've achieved two things by letting you configure the product, taking you further down the buying cycle, and then letting you visualize it at home.
That's super exciting. Those stats there as well. They really jump out, right? So 2.5 times dwell time. You've got the reduced photography mentioned there too. And we talk to a lot of furniture businesses who I've seen plenty where the photos that they have of those different products are either direct from the manufacturer or they're ones that are taken in the store and they're a little bit scrappily done. So are you
Mm.
seeing a lot of people actually using this 3D piece to automate a lot of their imagery for products as well?
Yeah, 100%. And it's becoming more and more relevant. And even if, and look, technology is advancing so quickly, even 4 years ago, to utilize 3D on a website was a bit clunky
Mm.
and it wasn't as photorealistic as you might need because that's super important. Like, whatever we build, it needs to look as good as it would in real life, or ideally better. Um, and look, we've got some clients, particularly one in fabric. So they're one of Australia's premier fabric providers, and they're now moving with us to 3D and renders rather than traditional photography to even show that fabric level detail because 3D models are quicker, they're not cumbersome, and they can get photorealistic. So we see that will become more and more prevalent. And then what you mentioned before, the dwell time is really important because the longer someone spends on your website, engage there, the more likely they are to engage with that product or company. So we measure that for a lot of clients as a really good indicator of the technology is capturing people's attention.
Amazing. Let's see the next one.
So the next one is web AR technology. Web AR is reasonably new. It's been around for about 2 to 3 years now. And the difference between it and traditional AR is when augmented reality first came out, you needed to download an app to use it. And 5, 8 years ago, people were downloading apps all the time. Now people have got app fatigue. So you really don't want people to have to download it, particularly for a one-time purchase. I don't know, Dan, would you download an app now if you just wanted to buy one thing?
If I was in that stage where I had 15 tabs open, I wouldn't be downloading the app. No, I would need
Yeah.
something that's got me really invested to make that move.
Yeah, exactly. And these days, most people want apps that give them continued benefit, and it needs to be a high level of benefit. So firstly, there was the apps that need to download, and then there's native apps. And native apps, you don't need to download anything, but they are still apps. And so their issue is that they'll only work on certain phones and certain software. And obviously that's an issue because if you have 9 people that it works for, but then one person that doesn't, I bet you that one person will be the one that writes a review. So with Web AR, it's exactly the same as downloading a website. So it works on any device that has internet and a camera. There's no need to download anything. It also, because it's like a web app, it's customizable. It can look and feel like an extension of your brand. The menu can be configured, the branding, which products are in there. So again, that's really important because you want someone to, move through your website through an AR experience and back into your website and really, really see people. And I'll show you a video in a minute. But the other advantage of Web AR is you can do dynamic materials in AR mode. So what does that mean? So what that means is while you're looking, to use a couch example, while you're looking at the couch through your camera and you've got it in this corner of your living room, you can just tap a button and roll through different materials or finishes in real time while you're reviewing it. Or you can try a different couch in that one session. Whereas with some native apps, you would have to go back to the website, choose another product, and come back to the AR experience. Doesn't sound like much, but we all know how fickle we are these days. We want to see things there and then, so that you'll lead to drop off again. It supports animations, which people always go wow to because they're pretty cool. So you can virtually place an umbrella in your garden, then click a button and see it open and close.
Oh,
Um, and we've got a client that just went live with recliners and their mobility recliners, and you can click a button and see it move animate a whole range of different ways, which for a potential buyer is really, really important. How's it move? How does it look? How am I going to use it? So it supports that. It also supports, and obviously, look, what we're trying to achieve is conversions. It's really the ultimate goal. So what I'll do is I'll just show a quick video. I can't, because we're on the laptop, I'm not going to actually demo the AR right now, but I'll show a video for a spa client, just showing how the 3D and the AR work really well together.
I'm going to watch this and I encourage everyone watching as well to watch this as a prospective spa buyer. Would this convert you? Is the question. I'm pretty convertible right now because Sydney's very cold. So the idea of a spa in the backyard is pretty good. But let's see this.
Maximize this. So this is taking you through the journey from their website to viewing the spa, choosing a particular spa. Prior to the software, you could just see there were some options. With the software, you can really engage and immerse yourself in those options from the shell color to the cabinet color. So in some ways, configuring the spa that you think looks best. You
Sleek.
can, yeah, it's a good looking spa.
Mm.
You can zoom in to see really, points of detail, which is great as well, which is can be difficult on a photo. And if you click AR, you can either scan a QR code, or if you're on your phone, it will just time. And then basically go out wherever you want it to be with one click, tap and place that spa in situ. You can get an understanding of sizing. You could try a different spa. You could continue to customize it while you're looking at it. So really give just a more immersive and engaging experience, through using that.
I think seeing it in the space is a big thing. Because a spa, for example, like you don't have tons of reference points for what that's going to look like in a space, what sort of space that takes up. You might have a balcony or a patio, for example, where you're thinking of putting that. How's that going to look next to your barbecue? Because I'm assuming if you're a spa owner, you probably have a barbie as well out there too. So yeah, it's a really valuable point because people don't have that reference point for the size of a spa.
So what I've shown so far is 3D and AR, and they're really good for products. But outside of that, there's also obviously a range of other things like carpets, walling. So there are other things that consumers want to visualize, but the difference here is you want to visualize it. So carpet under the coffee table, under the couch. How's it roll across the whole room? You've got acoustic paneling you want to put up. Well, how's it look on either side of a painting or windows? So this is a slightly different code-based AR product. And so what it allows the user to do is upload a photo of the space in real time, and then, with a couple of clicks, which I'll show in a minute, then alter that photo. So if you're looking at carpet, change the floor across a whole range of different options in the photo to see which one looks best, which is really important if you're choosing carpet, because again, until you've seen it, it's really hard to understand which one you really want to go with. And it's not a good experience if you lay carpet and then go, oh no, I don't like that at all,
Yep.
which I'm sure does happen. So the advantages are obviously increased visualization. It can be launched from certain products. It will reduce returns, provide competitive advantage, and studies have shown that it can lead to 5 times conversions because people go into that buying experience a lot more confident and will decide to make a decision rather than often sit back because they've seen it, they get it, they're good to go.
Yeah, no, this is super cool tech. I remember when you showed me the other day, we had shout out to Tony, who was sitting next to me, and Carly as well, who have just recently built houses, looking at this technology, thinking, where was this when I was building a house? So we've got a bit of validation there straight away, but yeah, it makes a ton of sense. Let's check it out.
Exactly. So this is an example carpet client, EC Carpets. So on their website, if you go to you're looking at a particular type of carpet. So I might think, okay, I like this carpet. And then if I click Room Visualizer, this launches the software. And so with the visualization software, the user's got 2 options. So they can see what it looks like in a series of aspirational rooms. And this is for people that may not want to upload a photo or may not have a photo handy. And as you can see, what the software has done is it's known that I was looking at the carpet, and it's applied now the carpet I was looking at, the swatch, for this scene. So I can determine if I like that carpet, or I can roll through a whole range of different options, just trying to visualize within this carpet scene, which one looks best, which one do I like. Then the other part of the product, which gets a bit more exciting, is, okay, I can also upload a photo of my space. So I'm on a laptop now, so I'll just choose a photo. If I was on a phone, which is where the majority of traffic is, you can literally just take a photo, and it will ultimately and really quickly let you manipulate that photo, which is quite cool. And you walk around snapping areas and then changing materials. So in this case, I just add a couple of points of the area that I want to change. Click continue. And this uses both an AI and a 3D model in the background to locate, okay, what is the carpet in this area? What surface is the floor? And then again, as you can see, it's now applied that initial carpet that I was looking at to this area. Funnily enough, this is an area that I recarpeted not that long ago due to a dog incident. And I would have loved at that time, because that was maybe a year and a half ago, to be able to look at a whole range of different colors in this space and go, okay, which one do I like best? Like, which one's gonna work best? And when you're looking at carpet, in this case, the variations are reasonably subtle and colors, but we've got clients in timber flooring and paving in particular, where you have quite dramatic changes in the material, and until you've seen it, it's really hard to know which ones you think are going to best in that space.
So Kyle, Ed. I was thinking of Kyle there for a sec, the founder. Ed, as a fellow dog owner, can I make a guess that you went for a more textured, lighter color for this carpet?
Yes.
Yep. Because I like to look at the black there, but dog hairs would show up really well. So, okay, that's super cool. How many customers do you have using this technology right now?
So overall, we've got some 60 across our different products. When we talk to a customer, we try and understand what their products are, who their market is, and then off the back of that, we'll work with them on what the best visualization software is across, I guess, our suite of products.
Amazing. It's very cool.
Okay, so they're the sort of a variety of, I guess, the visualization options that today. And what I wanted to talk through now is, okay, what's next? Because obviously AI is everywhere at the moment, and everyone's talking about it. And there's just so many different use cases for AI, and it's it's already starting to have a huge impact in our day-to-day life, and people are talking it like an industrial revolution of sorts. We don't know exactly where this is going to take us, but in our world, we see AI as a really good way to assist someone to make decisions, and as a visualization tool for the future. So, as an example here, what we're creating at the moment and about to release is an AI interior designer, and the results are really quite incredible. So I'll give you an example. I'll just bring this over here, and then I'll talk through some of the advantages. So similar to what I showed you before with the photo, this is another room. If I can snap a photo of an area, and then I can have an AI interior designer provide feedback on the room and suggestions as to what product would work in a matter of seconds. So I'll just click this virtual design assistant button here. So this is now, that's basically analyze this room, and I won't read it all out, but I hope people can read that okay. But what's impressive about it is it's categorized the room. It's seen that there's a coastal influence, which is quite amazing because this room is on the coast, but you can't really tell that except for a couple of items in there. It found the prominent objects, even found the fact that there's weights on the floor, so that this is a multi-purpose space. It's then assessed the dominant colors. About what I've asked it is, okay, what kind of carpet is going to work well in this room if I need to recarpet? So then it's given me recommendations. So given the palette, the style of room, a neutral carpet would work, with some examples, a soft grey carpet you were sort of alluding to before, Daniel, or a jute or sisal carpet, which personally I would like, what does that even mean? But the good thing is, what you can do is go one step further, and I'll show you that in a minute, and then add, you can change that carpet to their suggestion to see if you agree. I believe over the coming years, interior designers will always be really important, but this will give more power to the consumer. Use AI to make decisions. And so in this case, I'm asking it what kind of carpet would work well. But I did this with my wife for a room in our house, and suddenly it also said, well, what about a rug here and a plant over there? So next thing I know, we bought a rug and a plant. So yeah, so it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, that's epic. I mean, that's what we were talking about before in terms of replicating the offline experience online. And there's probably two key customer journeys that feed into this. So, firstly, you've got the customer who's landing on the website. They're going through this journey and they're convinced they're going to make a purchase online. Maybe they're busy, not too picky, or maybe they just found something they love. But the second journey is that someone's going to go through this journey, know exactly what they want, still want to go into the store because there are definitely customers like that. And I'm probably one of those customers where I would maybe for a lower cost item, I would convert online, but for a higher cost item, I'd still like to see it in person. So I would go through this journey, figure out exactly what I want, go into the store, a well-equipped and ready to buy consumer, and make that purchase. So it feeds into both sides, but really that research stage and accelerating that research stage and being the sticky option in that research stage is what I'm seeing coming out of this.
Yeah, exactly. And retailers already have are trying to provide this to their clients. So if you go to a lot of websites, they'll have a series of questions to guide you to which product might work, or potentially a quiz. Or if you buy something, obviously they'll suggest other products that work. I see this as just the next iteration of that because you can go to a furniture company's website with a whole range of different options, upload an image of your room. It can then suggest a whole range of different products, and then you can virtually place them to see if you agree, and then obviously you can go into the store or buy them online. But I believe this will become more and more prevalent because using AI, it's leveraging so much interior design content that's been accumulated over a period of years. And it's smart enough to then understand all of the retailers' products and in what circumstances they work. So if you think about your best sales assistant in store that knows a bit about interior design and knows our products, this is that person to another level because they've got a really deep understanding of the products of interior design, but they've also looked at the room and
That's extremely powerful. What I will say too is if you've got, let's say you've got two physical locations, you've got Brisbane and Sydney covered, the best major cities. No, I won't jab Melbourne too much, but you got those covered. You have someone landing on the website in Melbourne, they're probably not going to fly out to check out your store. So by giving them this sort of in-store experience online, you're going to broaden your ecosystem of potential customers there too, in terms of not being as tied down by geography, as long as the post-sales delivery can accommodate that.
and really the next part, as I mentioned, is AI interior design and AR. So as you mentioned, Dan, earlier, 6% I think it was have some kind of software now, and there's looking to be 31%. I think it will grow, and over time, I believe with the huge majority of retailers will need to look at, okay, how can I use AI to better service my customers? And then how can I use AR to allow them to better visualize a product? And over time, I think it's going to become a really important um, part of the entire buying process. So I'll just show you one more quick example of that. So this is a room where the user is wanting to change from the blinds to shutters. Now, plantation shutters always pretty much look good, but it's hard to visualize what they're going to look like. So in this case, again, with the interior designer, um, I'll just roll through this quickly, but it's categorized a room, worked out that there's kids' toys in there. It's then provided some recommendations for for height shutters, 10 louver size material, hinge color. And then using AI, I can see my recommendations. So if I click this button here, now it's brought up and it looks very different, but it's exactly the same room, but now it's got plantation. I could then click, well, I want to see what it looks like with drapes. So the beauty about AI is it's super realistic, from a photo perspective, and even from a product perspective, like shutters. So this kind of visualization tech doesn't really exist today, but it's going to become more prevalent as AI moves more into this space.
That's crazy because most of what you see out there, and this is probably the previous wave of technology in this space, feels like it's the product cut and pasted and planted on to an image, and it doesn't match the lighting of the room. It doesn't sort of fit in. Whereas that felt like a photo. Like, I'm actually a bit sus on you there. Are you sure that wasn't a photo?
Yeah, so I tell you, AI at the moment, it's like a highly intelligent, cheeky kid. Because what you need to do is you need to train it to make sure that it just puts the plantation shutters on of the product you want. And that's what we're working on at the moment, because in some of our testing, it will also, add a painting, or it will change the keyboard to white, or it'll do a range of pretty funky things.
It's
From what we're
ambitious.
working, it's really ambitious. So it's all about training it to deliver the outcome that you want. But what it's done here too is it actually matched the shutters to the room to make them look a little bit not brand new. So it's quite incredible what it can do. And
That's awesome.
okay, so they're really all the examples I wanted to show. I'm looking for time, so we're nearly out of time. So Dan, what do we want to do? We want to ask? Are there any
Yeah, look,
questions we wanted to answer?
no, thanks for jumping on it. Greatly appreciate your time here. And look, if we do have any questions coming through, shoot those through, and we can answer those as well. Just have a quick look through. All right. One question coming through, Ed, so question more for your side. Is there any plan for the ability to share different customizations? So if I'm designing a bed, for example, can someone, or is it on the roadmap in the future for someone to be able to share that particular configuration setup to another person where they will then load into that particular design?
Yeah, so so collaborate on the design, so to speak. So at the moment, the share function is a pretty important part of what we do,
Yep.
because a lot of people will have another decision maker. So even if it's a couch and you're configuring that couch, often you'll have someone else you live with, and they'll want some. So what you can do is share that configuration with them by all the usual channels, social media, email, text, and then send them a link so that they can also, virtually place that in the home as well to see if they agree. So yeah, so um, definitely collaboration through sharing. The other thing I didn't talk about, which is a few more years off, is the use of wearable devices such as goggles for visualization. At the moment, the take up in Australia is quite low, and they're for specific purposes. But we do believe that will change, and there will be a world where you and your partner can put on goggles with your storefront, look at couches, change materials, discuss them together in this virtual world, and then use your goggles to place them in your home to see. So we again look further down the track. We do believe that's coming.
That's going to be extremely cool. I can just imagine the amount of money I'm going to waste once I can shop like that. It's going to be too easy. Another question just came through as well. How difficult is it for a retailer to set up 3D product modeling?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So it's becoming more. So in the past, it was reasonably not difficult, but you need to have the right images, and then you would need a 3D modeler. So look, we've set up thousands and thousands of models, and it's becoming more and more streamlined. And with AI, AI and some other apps, you can now start to generate 3D models say to 80% really, really quickly. But typically, you will need a 3D modeler to touch them up to get them to the level that you need. So there is still a little bit of manual intervention still required there, because what's really key with the 3D models is that they look and feel like a really good representation of the product. And at the moment, auto-generated 3D models aren't quite there, but again, that will change and it won't be long.
Yeah, so AI assisted rather than completely AI automated at this stage. I
Yeah,
think that's the way to do it, right? You need that human element to check these things too.
yeah.
All right, that's our questions for today. So, look, thanks again, Ed, for jumping on. This was high consideration product journeys and how AR and 3D modeling impact those. I'm Dan from Shopline. We got Ed from Viewer. And final words I'm going to finish up on here. Seeing is believing. We'll see you on the next one.
That's okay. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, everyone.